Hi folks, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary, and not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Hi folks, welcome back to Crisco's Corner. This is from the Daily Wire. I'm a member. It's a great website. Got great articles in it. Anybody that's thinking about being a member, please do. And to get your Leftist Tears mug on top of it. I get zero money for promoting it, so don't think I'm doing this for that. Something I came across is on Easter Sunday, and I'm right in the middle of closing my business, so there's a lot of work to do, boxing stuff up. Making room in my house for things is quite a chore, but I saw this and I thought it was worth talking about and showing. Now, it's a little bit long. I'm going to read the whole thing. It's by David Limbaugh, and it's called Americans Must Never Throw in the Towel. I couldn't agree more. Let's read on. And just listen. I'm just going to read through it, maybe make a couple of comments here and there. And this isn't just for religious people either. As we survey our rotting culture and political landscape, it is tempting from a worldly perspective to lose hope for our way of life in our nation. As Christians, we have a greater hope, one that transcends these worldly problems. We must always train our focus on Jesus Christ, especially during this holiest of weeks. But let's not in the meantime abandon our earthly duties, our responsibilities to family, friends, country, and values. Those of you that are agnostic or atheists, I think this is worth listening to. If you're going to switch the channel now or turn the video off, please don't. It's not going to take you a couple of minutes of your time. I think it's worth listening to. While we must guard against making politics and patriotism our idols, we don't have to accept the notion that worshiping God requires neglecting what is true, great, and good in our earthly lives. A spiritual war is raging before our eyes, and we must suit up against it. Unless our lives on this side of eternity are utterly pointless, I'll never believe God placed us on earth to be indifferent to life here, to surrender the reins to forces of evil because a better world awaits us. Our founding fathers certainly didn't believe that either. But to properly and completely fight for our values, we must do more than just mouth the observation that we're in a spiritual war. We must embrace it in our very souls because it is true as any concrete reality we can verify with our five senses. We must embrace it because we're going to need otherworldly courage to face the whirlwind of forces of evil and untruth that have possessed our culture, that have brainwashed half our nation, and that threaten to finally destroy America as we know it and love it, and as it was founded, a land of unsurpassed religious and political liberty. Warriors of evil are cleverly disguised as warriors of truth, justice, harmony, and love. Their immoral causes mask as noble. They stir unrest and provoke disharmony in our society in the name of peace and unity. They actively sour race and gender relations while pretending to heal us. They promote hate in the cause of eradicating it, and they silence and suppress all opposing views and unwoke behavior in their self-appointed yet deceitful role as guardians of an enlightened culture. I think that paragraph is worth reading again. Warriors of evil are cleverly disguised as warriors for truth, justice, harmony, and love. Their immoral causes mask as noble. They stir unrest and provoke disharmony in our society in the name of peace and unity. They actively sour race and gender relations while pretending to heal us. They promote hate in the cause of eradicating it, and they silence and suppress all opposing views and unwoke behavior in their self-appointed deceitful role as guardians of an enlightened culture. Pause the video and think about that paragraph. Read it again if you have to. Give it some time. Let it sink in what that paragraph says. Let's read on. The forces have monopolistic control over our culture academic, and social media institutions, and competing views are not just censored, but actively demonized. Their socio-political message is monolithic and permits no dissent. Our universities are indoctrination factories, and Hollywood is a propaganda machine for the leftist worldview. The social media oligarchy actively promotes that worldview and attempts to erase any competing ideas it perceives as a threat to its message. How true. You disagree with me? We'll destroy you. Doesn't sound very American. Just when you think things couldn't get any crazier, you read from teachers from San Diego Unified School District are now allowing to teach immigrant children from Central America in person in the classroom while denying Americans children that privilege. And students and faculty of the University of Vermont's College of Education and Social Services targeted Dr. Aaron Kinsavater, a counseling professor, for posting a video lamenting the growth of what he describes as a dangerous and discriminatory ideology that blames society's ills on whiteness. There's a lot of forces working against this country. The prevailing narrative spewing from our toxic cultural spigot is that America is systematically racist, and the concept of racial colorblindness, as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. envisioned, is a tool to further white supremacy, and that all members of certain races are irredeemably racist, irrespective of their individual hearts and conduct. Conveniently, the proposed solutions for these problems are perpetual, unquenchable acts of atonement and radical distribution of wealth through the transformation of our capitalist system into a central planner's dream. Even certain promising politicians disappoint. Those you trust will fight back against such noxious ideas as allowing biological men identifying as women to destroy women's athletics in hopes of dreams of women athletes to accommodate woke culture's demand that one's right to identify as a certain sex must trump everything, no matter the personal and societal casualties. I compare it to your plumbing is bad in your house. So what do? You tear down the house. It makes no sense. At a time when the integrity of our electoral system is under dire threat from undemocratic forces, self-styled champions of democracy press for federal legislation to unconstitutionally impose uniform rules on the states that would forever compromise our democratic process and election integrity. The level of deceit here, as in so many other areas, is staggering. Boy, is that the understatement of the world. Isn't it sobering and surreal that we have a debate over whether we have a right and duty to protect our borders against invasion from migrants, traffickers, and cartels? That we have powerful people arguing that the border enforcement officials and the police need to be defunded? Meanwhile, our political class has become the chief enemy of fiscal sanity and economic reality. Washington menaces are proposing multi-trillion-dollar programs with monopoly money and imperiling our kids' financial future to allegedly stimulate an economy that they are forcefully smothering with their draconian lockdown rules. Oh my God, what an amazing paragraph that is. As if it weren't bad enough, an incontrovertible evidence of this nation's death wish, we see half of our society glorifying the killing of unborn babies, and we witness rapper Lil Nas X Satan shoes being sold out in less than a minute precisely because, not despite of, their satanic imagery. Let us worship God with our heart, soul, mind, and strength, but let's not abdicate our duty to fight those who would usher in hell on earth. And it explains their book that David Limbaugh wrote. I know not everybody is Christian. I know not everybody's religious. But I think there's something there for everyone that's an American. We are at a very difficult time. The forces that want to tear down this country and make it unrecognizable. The great experiment that was started by our founding fathers. The greatest experiment ever in human history, I believe, and many also believe, is still ongoing. And that experiment can still fail. How tragic would it be for me that I love U.S. history and I love the founding fathers and all the history up to date, that in my lifetime, the great experiment will fail. I can't accept that to be true. And anyone out there, whether they're conservative or not, that loves America, sees these people working against it. Organize locally. If you have to go through political parties, then do that. If you don't feel like doing that, and then find out what local candidates and city council, mayor, district attorneys races, sheriffs, get helping anyone that will work against the forces that are working against our country. They want to destroy this country, and I don't know why, but I really don't care why they think that. I just know they're doing it. You can't sit down and compromise with people that hate you and hate this country. The political war is coming. It's already started. And it's going to get more intense and more intense for the next year and 8 months. Go back and read this again with the sound off. Just read it yourself and tell me what you think. I'm not going to put a lot of commentary in it just here at the end. But I think it's worth sharing, and I think it's worth talking about with you, people you love, family, friends, that nobody can sit by anymore and say, well, what can I do? What can I do? And for every person that sits by and does nothing as they see this country be destroyed internally, will be to blame. My granddaughter just turned 2 years old in February. I don't want her 40 years from now saying, oh my gosh, we had such a great country. What happened to it? Why didn't my grandpa and his people stop it? Good question. I don't want her to ask that question. And until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.